this video, I'm going to show you how to make the Basketweave Scarf. This is an advanced level project with a really interesting stitch pattern. For this project, you'll need 2 balls of your Sunset Hues yarn, one in medium blue and one in dark blue. You'll also need some 4mm circular knitting needles, some scissors, and a yarn needle. To begin, we're going to use our medium blue yarn, which is colour 29, and we're going to cast on 43 stitches using the long tail cast on. So making sure you've left a nice long tail, make a slip knot in your yarn and pop that on your needle. And just as a reminder for the long tail cast on, the yarn that is attached to the ball is going to go over your index finger, the loose end is going to come over your thumb, and then with our needle we're going to come down to this yarn at the bottom and pick that up. We're going to go up to this yarn at the top and pick that up, and then we're going to go through this loop that is around our thumb, and then you can slide your thumb out and tighten that up. And because the slip knot also counts as a stitch, that is our second stitch cast on, and as I said, we need a total of 43. So you can go ahead and pause the video and cast on all of your stitches and meet me back here ready to start row 1. We're now ready to get started on row 1, and we're going to start the row by slipping the first stitch purlwise, so inserting your right needle as if you're purling and just slipping that stitch over. And then we've got a stitch pattern that we're going to work all the way across the row until the last 2 stitches, and that stitch pattern is going to look like this. We're going to purl 3, 1, 2 and 3, and then we're going to knit 3, so take your yarn to the back and knit 3, 1, 2 and 3, and then we're going to purl 2, and you're going to repeat that pattern of purl 3, knit 3, purl 2 until you have 2 stitches remaining, and with those last 2 stitches you're just going to purl them. So go ahead and work the rest of this row and meet me back here ready to start row 2. Row 2 is going to be very similar. We're going to start by slipping one again purlwise, and then the pattern we're going to repeat across the row is knit 3. So 1, 2, 3, purl 3, 1, 2, 3, and then knit 2. So you can see this is sort of the inverse of what we were doing on the previous row. So you can go ahead and work this until there are 2 stitches remaining at the end of the row. And what you're going to do is you're going to knit the first one and then purl the second one. And then rows 3 and 4 are a repeat of the 2 rows that we've just done. So you can work rows 3 and 4 as well by repeating exactly what we've just done. On row 5, things are going to start to get a little bit more complicated. We're going to start again with a slip 1, and then the stitch pattern we're going to do across this row is knit 2, so 1, 2, then yarn over, so just wrap the yarn around your right needle, then we're going to knit 2 together, so inserting under those 2 stitches as if to knit, and then just knitting them together, then we're going to knit 1, then we're going to slip 1 stitch purlwise like this, knit the next stitch, and then we're going to pick up that slip stitch with our left needle, and we're going to bring it over this stitch and off the end of the needle, just like that. Then we're going to yarn over again, and then knit 1. And that is the pattern that we're going to repeat all the way across the row until we have 2 stitches remaining, which you will knit 1 and then purl 1. So go ahead and work the rest of the row and meet me here ready to start row 6. Row 6 is really easy. We're just going to slip this first stitch and then we're going to purl every other stitch on the row. So nice and straightforward. Go ahead and work that and meet me back here ready to start row 7. For row 7, we're going to start by slipping 1, and then the repeat across this row is knit 2, purl 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then knit 1. And you're going to repeat that all the way across the row until there are 2 stitches remaining, where you will knit 1 and then purl 1. So go ahead and work all of that and meet me back here ready to start row 8. Row 8 is sort of going to be the inverse of row 7. So we're going to start with a slip 1, and then we're going to purl 2. And then the repeat that we're going to work across this row is purl 2, knit 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then purl 1. And you're going to work that all the way across the row until you have 2 stitches remaining, and you're going to purl both of those. And then rows 9 and 10 are going to be a repeat of rows 7 and 8. So you can also work them once you finish this row. And then you can meet me back here ready to start row 11. For row 11, we'll start by slipping 1. And then the stitch repeat for this row is knit 1, slip 1, knit 1, and then pass that slip stitch over the knit stitch and off the needle. Then yarn over, knit 3, so 1, 2, and 3, yarn over, and knit 2 together. And you're going to repeat that all the way across the row until there are 2 stitches remaining, which you are going to knit and purl. So go ahead and work all of that and meet me back here ready to start row 12. And row 12 is going to be a nice easy one again. We're just going to start by slipping the first stitch and then purling all the way across the row. And once you've finished this row, you're actually going to repeat these 12 rows a total of 12 times. So you can go ahead and work all the way back through these rows until you have a total of 12 repeats. And then you can meet me back here where we are going to change color. Once we've finished all of those repeats, we're going to change color. So we can cut this yarn, leaving a bit of a tail so that we can weave that in at the end. And then we're going to start working with our new color, which is the dark blue. And we're going to continue working in the same pattern repeat that we've been working so far. We're going to work another 13 of these 12 rows. So I'm just going to pick up on row 1 again, starting with a slip stitch. And then I'm going to purl 3 using my new yarn. And then knit 3. And then purl 2. And I'm just going to continue with this 12 row repeat until we've done a total of 13. And then I'll meet you back here where we will bind off together. Once you've finished all of your repeats with the dark blue color, it's time to bind off. And to do that, we're going to start by knitting the first 2 stitches. And then with our left needle, we're going to pick up that first stitch that we knit. And we're going to bring it over the top of the second stitch and then off the end of the needle. So that is 1 stitch bound off. And then for the rest of the row, all we're going to do is we're going to knit 1, pick up the previous stitch and bring it off the needle. So you can go ahead and work like that all the way across the row until you have 1 loop left on your needle. When there is 1 loop left on the needle, we can cut the yarn, leaving a bit of a tail so we can weave that in later. And then we're just going to pull up on the needle to bring that strand all the way through and fasten that off. And then all that's left to do is to weave in the ends. So grab your yarn needle and thread one of your loose ends onto it. And we want to make sure we're weaving in our ends on the wrong side of the work. So not the side with this nice basket weave pattern, but on this side here. And once you've finished weaving in all of your ends, your scarf is all done and ready to wear. I hope you've really enjoyed making this project.